Today on Inquirer. BuCor seizes beer and shabu inside new Bilibid Prison. Death toll from Paeng rises to 121. State of calamity declared over Calabarzon, Bicol, Western Visayas, and BARMM. Optional face mask use allowed in classrooms according to DepEd. And Philippines' hunger rate hardly moved in months under Bongbong Marcos administration, according to the latest SWS survey. Today on Inquirer. Good evening. The Bureau of Corrections confiscated thousands of beer in cans and shabu inside the maximum security compound of the new Bilibid Prison. Zakarian Sarao has the full report live.
Yes, Denise, a total of 66,241 various contrabands, the most shocking of which were more than 7,000 cans of beer, were confiscated by the Bureau of Corrections inside the new Bilibid Prison. In a press conference this afternoon, BuCor revealed that the said beer cans were sold right inside the NBP maximum security compound at 1,000 apiece. BuCor officer in charge Gregorio Catapang Jr. said the beers were either surrendered by inmates or were seized during one of its Oplan Galugad raids. Oplan Galugad is what BuCor calls its search raids inside the NBP for contraband and illegal activities. Apart from the beer in cans, BuCor also seized illegal substances, specifically shabu. But Katapang said that this will still need to go through their crime labs to determine whether it is indeed crystal methamphetamine. Other contrabands included cash, communication devices, weapons, and gambling materials. Katapang even said that they are still continually receiving surrendered contrabands to this day. Back to you, Denise.
Zach, I guess many people are baffled. How were these items able to enter the maximum security compound?
Indeed, Denise, they were indeed baffled. In fact, Katapang himself admitted that they themselves were shocked by the discovery, as it was the first time BuCor had ever confiscated such a huge haul of liquor. Regarding on how these items entered the compound, Katapang in the earlier press conference revealed that some inmates have already named personnels that are allegedly allowed the entry of the said contrabands inside. But Katapang has yet to release the names of the said personnels as it is still under investigation. However, he bared that they are a mix of BuCor and BJMP or Bureau of Jail Management and Technology agents. With this, Katapang gave assurance that the involved personnels will be given due process, but personnels who are still inside the NBP will be relieved from their duties.
Zach, what triggered Katapang to intensify their Oplan Galugad?
Well, the main spark that caused the intensified Oplan Galugad was the death of June Villamor, the alleged middleman behind the assassination of radio commentator Percy Lapid. His death apparently triggered this after forensic pathologist Dr. Raquel Fortune's independent autopsy determined that apart from dying from homicide by suffocation, illegal substances were also discovered in his body. This basically confirmed the drug problem inside the NBP complex, prompting Katapang to order his men to go to their respective areas and tell the people or the inmates to voluntarily surrender whatever it is in their possession.
All right, thank you, Zach. In other news, the reported death toll left by Tropical Storm Paeng climbed to 121 on Wednesday, according to the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council. In the NDRRMC's latest situation report, of these total deaths, 92 have already been verified while the remaining 29 are still up for validation. The number of injuries remained at 103, while 33 individuals remain missing. On the other hand, the total number of affected individuals further rose, reaching the 3 million mark. This is equivalent to over 927,000 families in at least 7,000 barangays. Meanwhile, 4 regions were placed under a state of calamity due to Paeng, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. signed Proclamation number 84 today, placing Calabarzon, Bicol region, Western Visayas, and the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region and Muslim Mindanao under a state of calamity. According to the proclamation, the state of calamity will be in effect for 6 months unless earlier lifted by the president. The declaration of a state of calamity will expedite the rescue, recovery, relief, and rehabilitation efforts of the government and the private sector, according to Marcos. Meantime, right before the full implementation of in-person classes, the Department of Education announced that wearing of face masks in classrooms will be optional. John Eric Mendoza tells us the details.
Wearing a mask in classrooms will now be optional. That is according to the Department of Education as full implementation of in-person classes began today. DepEd spokesperson Michael Tanpoa told Inquirer that DepEd will follow the executive order of President Bongbong Marcos. According to POA, the agency will also release a mandatory department order making wearing of mask optional. Marcos signed the executive order on October 28, which lifted the mandatory use of face masks indoors. A month earlier, Marcos also lifted the mandatory use of face masks outdoors. Full face-to-face classes already began today, November 2, in accordance with DepEd Department Order, which mandates of in-person classes weekly. The order also barred blended or distance learning beyond October 31. This comes as nation reported local transmission of XBB Omicron subvariant and XBC variant of COVID-19. Despite the optional use of face masks, the health department urged the people to still use layers of protection against COVID-19 like wearing a face mask. Denisa?
Eric, what is the reaction of the Department of Health on the optional wearing of face masks inside classrooms?
Yes, Denisa, the Department of Health has yet to comment on the DepEd policy, but the DOH has always reiterated the importance of wearing face masks. Denisa?
Eric, today is the first day of full face-to-face classes of schools. Do we have data on how many schools successfully implemented the full in-person learning?
Yes, Danisa, actually, Michael Tanpoa said in a public briefing before that 94% of schools in Metro Manila has already begun full to face-to-face classes. So when we say full face-to-face classes, the classroom have 100% room capacity and are conducting classes 5 days a week, just like the pre-pandemic period. Danisa?
Okay, thank you, Eric. In another news, the hunger situation in the Philippines hardly moved in months during President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr.'s term, according to the latest Social Weather Station's survey. The National SWS survey released on October 29 was the first conducted under Marcos's administration, and it found that hunger hardly moves from 11.6% to 11.3%. In the previous national SWS survey conducted during the tail end of former President Rodrigo Duterte's term in June, hunger was at 11.6% of Filipino families. Both hunger rates are estimated to be equal to 2.9 million families. The hunger rate increased in Metro Manila from 14.7% of families to 16.3% of families, according to the survey. It also rose in Mindanao, with hunger going from 14% of families to 15.3%. Visayas' hunger rate also increased by 1.3 points, going from 5.7% of families to 7%. However, Balanced Luzon, which had the largest pool of respondents, decreased its hunger rate, going from 11.9% of families to 9.6%. This caused the overall hunger rate to narrow down to a 0.3 decline. Sports update. Steve Nash is out in Brooklyn after two-plus seasons, and his replacement could be in place before the end of the week. The embattled head coach was let go by the Nets on Tuesday after a 2-5 start to the season and plenty of controversy already. The Nets said a decision regarding the team's next coach will be made in the near future. Assistant Jackie Vaughn is the acting head coach of the Nets on Tuesday night against the Chicago Bulls. In a press release, Nets general manager Sean Marks said it was a difficult decision, but after much deliberation of how the season has begun, they agreed that a change is necessary at this time. In a tweet, Nash offered his thanks with a note entitled, "Thank you, Brooklyn." Nash had been thrust into the spotlight the past few days over the latest Kyrie Irving controversy. Irving shared a now deleted link to the movie Hebrews to Negros, Wake Up Black America, despite inclusion of anti Semitic tropes. Alamin naman natin ang mainit na balita sa mundo ng showbiz kasama si Ann Therese Arceo ng Bandera. Ann?
Hello Denisa at hello sa lahat ng kabandera natin all over the world. Narito ang latest chika for today. Barbie Imperial, huli sa CCTV camera? Nanugod nga ba ng Viva Max artist ng dahil sa selos? Trending ngayon ang aktres na si Barbie Imperial matapos ang di umano'y panunugod nito sa Viva Max artist na si Debbie Garcia. Kalat na nga ngayon sa social media ang CCTV footage kung saan makikitang kinalmot at sinaktan ng aktres ang Viva Max artist. Makikita rin sa naturang CCTV footage ang mga kalalakihan na umawat upang matapos na ang pisikalan ng dalawa. Naganap ang insidente noong Biyernes, October 28 ng gabi sa isang bar sa Quezon City. Agad nga raw nagtungo sa police station si Debbie upang magpa-blatter at pumirma na rin siya ng kanyang salaysay ukol sa nangyaring insidente. Ayon sa mga chika, nag-ugat daw ang insidente dahil sa selos na nararamdaman ni Barbie matapos makipag-date ni Debbie sa kanyang ex-boyfriend na si Diego Loizaga. Matatanda ang nagkasama si Diego at si Debbie sa isang sexy dramang movie na pinamagatang The Wife, na ipinalabas noong February 2022. Samantala, February 2023 nang kumpirmahin ni Barbie ang kanilang paghihiwalay ni Diego, 2 buwan matapos ang kanilang pagse-celebrate ng first anniversary noong December 2021. Wala pa namang pahayag ang kampo ni Barbie tungkol sa issue, samantalang balak naman ni Debbie na kumonsulta sa mga abogado hinggil sa mga posibleng kaso na pwede niyang isampa laban sa aktres. At yan nga ang latest chika natin for today. Tutok lang sa bandera para sa may init na pasabog at chika sa mundo ng showbiz. Back to you, Denisa.
Thank you, Anne. And these are the stories you need to know today. I'm Denisa Fernandez. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net.